like it's just a prayer away. Don't give up now, trust the process and keep learning. And if you need a friend, we're in this together, together, together. We're in this together, together, together. We're in this together, 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 together as a family in faith and melody.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Faith and Melody, the place of meaningful conversations and inspiring INC music. Life is full of demands, but are we focusing on what truly matters? Today, we're going to explore how to set the right priorities and make intentional choices, as well as aligning our time and energy with what brings purpose and fulfillment. I'm Arabelle Celestino from the United Kingdom.
And I'm Jay from Australia. And as your host for today, we're excited for you to join us. So let's get this show started and listen to the first song on our playlist, the song Blessings Abound.
I am, yeah, I am proud to be INC, and His blessings abound for all in the INC.
Blessings abound, they keep on coming. Every day, the Lord our God is so generous when I pray. When I receive His goodwill and protection, His love and His mercy, they keep me in the right direction.
If you feel you're slipping, just go to our God, for He's the only one who's trying to go on. Yeah, He's waiting for you to call upon Him and He will save you.
Yeah, you know that I am proud to be His chosen one. True member of the Church of Christ, yeah, we're His chosen one. True members of the Church of Christ, yeah, we're His chosen one.
Blessings abound for in the
Reap all the blessings on the final day, but we first need to serve in the proper way. Got my membership, I'm complete. The devil on the prowl, trying to get to me, trying to tempt me, trying to get the best of me. I fight the winning battle, I ain't fazed by the short-lived and the temporary.
I don't gotta be known to have more wealth than one can own, but I always gotta make sure that my faith is grown.
Keep my relationship with God strong. Just tell me what's the point of having it all if after this life we got no eternal heavenly home? Yeah, you know that I am. Don't let yourself be caught off guard. You've been blessed with this calling to be among God's chosen ones. Yeah, to be among God's chosen ones. So don't be swayed, don't stop, nor slow down. So don't be swayed, don't stop, nor slow down. Yeah, say it with me. I might be proud, run towards the crowd. If you feel like you have got the weight of burdens on your shoulders, take out strength. You know it'll help you endure. There ain't nothing you can't do when you trust in Him. So let the blessings fall down. Let the blessings fall down.
Blessings abound, they don't stop raining on me. I am, you know that I am proud to be INC. And His blessings abound for all in the And His blessings abound, they
Hello, hello, everyone. And no matter where you're tuning in from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's currently 12:06 a.m. over in our main studio in the Philippines, past 2 a.m. here in Australia, and past 5 p.m. over where Bell is there in the United Kingdom. And you are tuned in to INC Radio's Faith and Melody, where later on the show, we're talking about priorities. On today's topic, first things first. But before we dive into our discussion, let's go ahead and begin with our kickoff chat.
Our next breakfast is titled Life Storm
Let us know if
Survival
it's
Kit.
something that you're willing to take up as a
Kickoff
challenge.
chat.
So, for our kickoff chat for today will be our priority list. So, it's one simple question. What's your one focus for this week? So, would you like to start off, Jay?
One focus for this week. So for me, and this has been happening just very recently at the beginning of this week, is getting ready for winter. Where I need to focus on winter proofing the house because down here in Australia, we're in autumn right now, heading towards winter, the beginning of autumn, but it's already quite cold. So if you are planning to visit Australia down under at the moment, bring a jacket because it's getting quite cold for us here, especially down here in Melbourne. So trying to winter proof the house. And the thing is, Belle, unlike in Canada and in the US, I believe over there, a lot of their houses are very, very well insulated when it comes to the summertime and also the winter time, right? Especially in Canada, it gets really, really cold over there. Not so much here in Australia. Not like I believe over there in Canada and the US, most of their windows are double pane or single pane glass. Our Ohana there in the chat that might be from that part of the world. Let me know if that's correct. But here in Australia, most of our houses are quite, I think the word is drafty. There's always a draft, right? So in summer, it gets really hot inside the house. In winter, especially, Jem is not very good with the cold. Like she gets cold really easily. Like right now, it's not even that cold, but she is cold, right? She's wearing, I believe, like she's got 3 layers on. She's got a hoodie and a jumper hoodie, and she's still cold, right? And she's got like a thick blanket and everything else, and she's still cold in the night. So trying to winter-proof the house is one of my focus for this week because it's not winter yet, but we're getting there, and it's already quite cold here in Melbourne. How about you, Belle? What's your one focus for this week?
Wow, for us is the exact opposite. It's getting warmer and warmer here, Jay. And I guess one focus for the week or even for the week after, it's making more time for my family, especially like my siblings, because in this like 1 week or 2 weeks, my brothers are on like vacation, so they don't have school. So hopefully we'll try to make something fun while they're home. So yeah, I feel like hopefully like with the good weather and their spare time since they're home, we'll do something together as a family or even like just as siblings. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to that.
That's pretty cool. Like, actually, I just read there in our live chat, we have quite a few of our Ohana, or as we call them, our Ohana or our family. Brian Torres there in live chat says, my one focus for this week is to try find the best Thai restaurant around my place to celebrate Family Day this weekend. So, if you love Thai, that's pretty cool. Like, one of the things that we recently had this past weekend was wait, laksa. Is laksa Belle, do you know what dish? I think laksa is Malay. Is that Malaysian? I think that's Malaysian. Hopefully, I'm not mistaken. But I know it's that part of the world. But we had laksa, and again, it's nice because laksa is a bit spicy, and it's quite cold. And there's just something nice about eating something a little bit spicy over when the temperature is a bit cold, right? It warms you up. it warms you up. But let's say hello. Belle, why don't we go ahead and say hello to our Ohana there in our live chat right now? Of course, we have Rod Kahayag saying hello to us, greeting us all the way there in, I believe, Livermore, California. Of course, our Mario Oka is there saying, happy watching here in the Philippines and hello to all the brethren. Greetings from the locale of Brixtonville, district of Caloocan North. And there's also here a message as well. Adelaida one. Hello, hello. Happy watching from Cebu City, Cebu, from Adelaida one. So thank you for tuning in. I don't think we've seen your name pop up on our chat. So welcome to Faith and Melody. She's also got a greeting here. They've also got a greeting saying hello po to Ka Chelus and Shin Jan Duma Dumaguing in Melbourne, Australia. I'm not familiar with them because I'm from Melbourne, right? But I'm in Melbourne, in particular Manor Lakes, right? So, but yes, they've got that greeting there saying we miss you here in the locale ng Cebu City, distrito ng Cebu City, and of course Brian Torres is there. Albert P is there as well. Hello, brethren, watching from Fort Worth, Texas. And of course, we have Ka Vicky Domopoy saying, good afternoon from London, District of Britain South. Happy watching to all our brethren around the world. And she's greeting everyone as well here. Melby Tamay, I just saw her name pop up on the chat. So she's also there saying, hello, everyone. Happy viewing from Central Valley, California. And greeting everyone there. And I've got another name, Elin Ronquillo, saying, this is a perfect song for INC when we were playing Blessings Abound at the top of the show. But yes, thank you to everyone that's sending through their greetings. But in our kickoff chat, the question is, what's your one focus for the week? So let us know. What is your one focus for the week? Belle, over to you. Let's move on to something, again, with focus, right? What would be your focus for the week when it comes to your, let's go with your health?
Okay, so basically staying hydrated. Sometimes when we get really busy, we tend to forget to drink a cup of water. You know, that really makes a difference because when you're really exhausted and you feel stressed, like a cup of water can make the difference, or even like a bottle of water, if ever. But yes, I'm still trying to, stay more hydrated. So hopefully, especially with the heat coming, I mean, it's not as hot as like the rest of Europe, but it's still a bit warmer than it was like 2 months ago. But yes, hopefully, like with the warmth coming and the sun, I'll remember to stay more hydrated.
That's true, and it's you're leading, like you're kind of a few months away from summer, right? So definitely a good start to build up that habit of staying hydrated. We're always drinking water here, like because we've just come from summer, so we're very much into like staying hydrated and staying cool as well. But now that it's switching over to winter, one of my other focus for the week, apart from winter proofing the house, right? Like, oh, seriously, we're looking at curtains. I don't know if you've ever heard of block out curtains just to cover the windows. We have really big windows here, and the thing
Wow.
is, it's quite drafty. So we're looking at that. But the other thing that I need to focus on is changing over our clothes, right? So we've had all our jackets and all of our thicker garments and also blankets and things like that tucked away. I don't know if you use what are those vacuum bags where you can put them in there so they take up less space and also kind of protect them. So just got to find where they are and basically switch over our wardrobe from summer kind of clothes to more of like the autumn winter fashion, which I'm looking forward to. I love the cold. I love winter. I love layering. All right. So I love, layers when it comes to dressing up, especially for like worship service and things like that. I love putting on like like multiple layers. Let's just say put it that way. But yes, that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting. Over in our live chat, Bell, did you see any other focuses that our Ohana are sharing with us of what they're focusing on for this week?
So Melvi here said consistency in completing the 30-day challenge with my coworkers for the whole month of April. Wow. What's the
Ooh, oh.
30-day challenge? Like it could be about anything, right? So hopefully Melvi tomorrow will be able to share with us what her challenge is with her coworkers. But we also have here Rodika Hayek saying my focus is to try and be consistent with being consistent. But
But
yes,
that's it. That's important, right? You need to try and be consistent with consistency. So you need to work on that for sure. Um, but there you go. But if there's anything else, let us know what other things that you are focusing on for this upcoming week. It's nice, right? To at least have your goal set on something for the week ahead. Right. So that's one of the great things that we have is that we're at the beginning of the week. Melvi just replied as well, the 30-day challenge that they are working towards, her and her co-workers. What's it say there? Well, it's a workout challenge and getting back in shape.
hey,
I mean, like it's a perfect time to start if you haven't, like any day is a perfect time to start if it's got to do with your health. So a workout challenge, I think everyone should always try to challenge themselves that way. I'm very enthusiastic when it comes to health and self-care and exercising. So definitely if it should be always a renewable goal that you always work towards to always better yourself like from month to month at least. Brian also shared something, Belle. Did you want to go ahead and read that?
yeah, he wrote here another focus this week is to remember to stand up every 45 minutes from my 9 to 5 job. So that's true, especially like if you're in the office all the time and you're just on your laptop, it's important that you walk around a bit and stretch out so that you can still walk after like working so much. Uh, so yeah, it's just really important to keep moving around and keep being healthy because especially when we grow more mature, grow more older, uh, at least we won't have much um of a hassle like trying to do the like more activities when we're older, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I totally agree with that. I totally support it as well. Like as you get older, you need to be exercising and you need to be moving more, right? I mean, like there's that thing that gets I hear all the time when it comes to people who are in fitness and in exercise, right? Is that you don't get older. Well, wait, what is it? Yeah, you don't stop moving. Wait, okay, I'm not gonna try because I can't remember the order, but basically, you need to keep on moving so that you don't get older, right? The reason why you get older is because you stop moving. So don't stop moving. Always move. Always find a reason to move. Always find a reason to do some exercise, right? If you're able to, of course. But definitely one of those things that we always gotta keep on looking out for. But anyway, that's pretty much just to start off the conversation about priorities and our topic today. First things first. But before we get into our topic, again, we want to say thank you to everyone for participating in our kickoff chat. But that is our kickoff chat, and stay tuned for the next one. So we can ask our Kuya Nico and Kuya Irene to close off our kickoff chat with a bumper.
Our
Another word
INCRadio
is
this
live
is live
transform. Let us know
survival
if it's something that you're willing to take up as a
Kickoff
challenge.
chat.
So stay tuned, everyone. We're going to be talking about recognizing what truly matters, finding out our priorities. But before that, let's listen to the next two songs on our playlist for today. The next two songs that we'll be listening to, one in Tagalog and one in English, Sa Muling Pagparito, and the second song is Unstoppable. So stay tuned, Faith and Melody. We'll be right back.
Sa
Mga pagsubok ay di natin maiiwasan. Sadyang mahirap ang ating pagdaraanan. Masasaktan ngunit kayang malampasan. Kung ika'y mabigo, agad na tumayo. Kaya natin to, kaya natin to. Sa muling pagparito ng Panginoong Jesucristo, tayo'y ililigtas. Kaya manatili hanggang sa wakas. Tapat ang pangako ng Ama sa ating mga hinirang niya. Manalangin tayong lagi na siya sa atin ang magpapala. Kaya huwag tayong matakot, ang Diyos ang nangako. Hindi niya tayo pababayaan, hindi niya tayo malilimutan. Sa muling pagparito ng Panginoong Jesucristo, tayo'y ililigtas. Kaya manatili hanggang sa wakas. Hindi niya tayo pababayaan, hindi niya tayo malilimutan. Sa muling pagparito ng Panginoong Jesucristo, tayo'y ililigtas. Kaya manatili hanggang sa wakas.
Onwards to further all victories, moving forward to make more history. Let's see more than a century. Evidently, this is heaven sent, God given energy. We're never getting tired. The bar we raise it high. We're not just trying to get by. More properties we buy, more countries we reach, more conference baptized in the race that we're running. Man, it seems that we fly. In God we trust, on Him we rely. Always giving us strength, the faith, the light, the love, the hope. The life that we need, all His miracles we see for the INC. His goodness and power can be seen in our victories.
With God's help, we're striving. With God's love, we're shining. All the blessings God gives, all the blessings He receives will only help to fight for our victory.
With God's help, we become unstoppable. With God's help, everything is possible. All of the accomplishments are remarkable. Others can't hate, but they still can't stop it though. We move forward, never ever stumble. With God blessing us, we still stay humble. And through the struggle and all of the trouble, our work we redouble, and look at what it's come to. We're global now, we're not done yet. Working before the sunrise and way past the sunset. From where the sun rises to where the sun sets, always putting in work, that's what his son said. We're going farther than the seas and beyond our limits, because God is on our side. We will never be finished, our hands keep on working and we still stay winning. Made it to 100, that's just the beginning.
With God's camp, we're diving. With God's help, we're rising. All His teachings He bestows, all His teachings will oppose. We march on and on for the victory. Thousands of brethren who are studying His teaching. Millions of fellow men who are learning His teaching. Yeah. Through the worship building, standing tall. This is all evidence that He won't let us fall. Millions of brethren, the Church of Christ continues to grow with millions of brethren. God's great name made truly known. More than 100 years of God's countless blessings. Everything made possible. More than 100 years of His of never ending. Through the good and the bad, we remain victorious. We return all the praises to a God so glorious.
You're listening to Jay and Bell here on INCRadio's Faith and Melody. And as we proceed to our topic discussion about first things first. Now, are we truly putting first things first? Life is full of demands, but are we focusing on what truly matters? So today we're going to dive into what it means to prioritize wisely, avoid distractions, and align our focus with what brings purpose and fulfillment. And so, with that, one of the first things that we want to ask is, how do you prioritize, or even how do you determine what's most important in your life so that you can focus on that, right? Like in our kickoff chat, we were talking about like what's your one focus for this week. So much things always try to grab our attention and time. How do you determine what's most important in your life? So, Belle, over to you first. What do you do so that you can determine if something, a task, an activity, spending time with a certain person, like how do you determine what's important and I guess what's not important?
Well, I really need to see like the pros and cons in a way where you need to know if this will be able to help you grow as a person, of course. And then secondly, uh, it should be something that brings you like joy and happiness most of the time. Because if it's important, then you care about it, right? You value it. And uh, that can go for any, like almost anything, depends on who the person is or what the matter is. So, yes, um, that's how I determine how something is important to me. And most of all, like our election, like in the Church of Christ, it is uh, of utmost importance, right? So everything else follows after that. And anything related to our calling, of course, is something that is important, right? No matter how big or small it is. And for me, also, is just to see if this is worth it, like that matter is worth it or not in a few years' time. Maybe sometimes it's just something that is like a phase or something, but when something is really and truly important, then it's something that you should bring with you, like for a long time, right, Jay? At least that's how I think it should be.
No, no, that's true. That's true. Like for me, what comes to mind when I think of what's important and kind of what I've experienced is that it aligns with certain values that you hold, right? And the thing is, obviously, we're members of the Church of Christ. We have our Christian values, right? But as we've grown up as well, we're also been taught on other things that are important to our lives. So not only is our duties or our election as members of the Church of Christ, whether if you have a church office that you have to prioritize as well, but then there's also the other things that we have to make sure of. So kind of like our way of life, right? So our the way that we lead our life, the way that we behave, and basically our character as out there is also something that dedicates or dictates what would be important when we are choosing to do certain activities, right? There are certain tasks, there are certain activities, certain things that we cannot do, right? That we shouldn't be doing, but we have to make that choice to determine whether it's that. But when it comes to prioritizing certain tasks and such, like alignment with your values, like what's important to you. For us, of course, always at the top of the list is our election, our membership, the calling that we have as members of the Church of Christ, whether that's a duty and of course our service to our Almighty God. But then what else is important to you? Kind of like that could be with your family. That could be prioritizing your health. I don't know what it is, but I think as I've gotten older in the years, like where I prioritize health and looking after myself has it's always been changing positions. It'd be like lower, then be higher, then lower, then higher. But as I've gotten older, not saying that I'm old, but as I've gotten older, it's I've come to realize like how important health is overall with everything that you need to do in life, right? That also comes towards on like how much love and how much you can be there for the people that you love, right, is determined by the amount of energy and how healthy you are. Because if you're sick, if you're bedridden, then how are you able to be there for the people that you love? How are you able to accomplish and strive for the things that you want in this life for your future, but also for your church duties and anything else? So, alignment with your values, you got to find out what's important to you. And I think this changes depending on what chapter you are in life. So you have to determine what's important to you right now. Like, is career the most important thing to you right now? And how, and like, is your duties right? Like, where's that priority for your duties? Is that lower than where it should be? Right. So you always have to make sure that your alignment for your values, that the values themselves are prioritized correctly. So that's kind of like an internal. I think we're not able to tell people what they should prioritize. That should be something that's done internally. But that's why we have our faith as kind of a guiding light to help us to make those decisions. Overall, you got to look at the long-term impact of, if you prioritize only this, and that means that you are not prioritizing something else, right? Right, Bel? So like, if you prioritize work 24 hours, 7 days a week, and you're not giving time to your family, you're not giving time to your loved ones, you're not giving time to look after your health, those things will deteriorate over time. And you got to be careful with that. So you got to look at the long-term impact on what you're focusing on to see if it's going to bring the values out in where you want it to be. It's not going to affect you in the right way. Let's give a quick shout out to, oh, sorry, Belle, go ahead.
And
Before we jump over to our live chat.
with what you mentioned, I feel like it's true. And um like, as a, I don't know how to explain it, but when you're prioritizing something, you're basically focusing on something. So for example, what you mentioned about like the work analogy, right? It's just it's important, of course, but it can be the only important thing during the day or during the week, right? So it is important to have like balance throughout like the day or the week about that. And it's good that like the church administration always implements family hour, right, Jay? So at least we have like that 1 hour, or like even a bit longer than that sometimes, or even a day of family day, like throughout the week. And like it's just a refresher, like not a refresher, like something refreshing throughout the week, especially if you are working so much and you feel like there's a lot of things that stress you out, right? So, in a way, all of that should be balanced. I if it's either work or study, your studies, or your family, or even like your friends, like your social life. So, everything, like if it's really well balanced, then we will be able to um, succeed in each aspect of our life. So thank you for that, Jay. But yes, we can go on to our team live chat now. There's a lot of responses actually. Well, before that, we would also like to greet some new people who were able to join us. So we have here Joanna Grace Lopez saying, "Good Monday morning to everyone. Beautiful spring day here in Edmonton. Hopefully, winter number three was it for us. Currently 6, but we'll be rising to 14. Wow, it's quite cold in there." And we also have here Juneline Sarueda saying, "Happy watching po mula sa lokal ng Modesta Distrito ng Marikina." Thank you so much, Juneline. And then we also have Mark Anthony Gonzalez Olaviaga saying, "Hello, hello. Um, Greetings to all. Good evening from the local of Kings Williamstown, District of Southern Africa." We also have Leandro Del Mundo. Happy listening and tuning po sa lahat ng mga kapatid sa Panginoon. And thank you so much to everyone who were able to join us so far. But yes, here we have um, a few responses as well. We have Jonah Grace saying, "Priority always God, duty, health, self, and family." And she said that when we have those as priority in our lives, everything else will fall into place, right? And I think that's really accurate. That's really something that we should always keep in mind, right, Jay? And here we have Rod saying, "For me, I always try to put God first. If it's in line with being a true Christian, then that's the priority because it'll benefit my family." And Brian here also said, "I determine what's important to me is what makes me happy and at peace. And God gives me peace and happiness as I seek Him first in all things." And yes, that really is true because once you put God first in your life, in the center of your life, everything else will truly follow in a smoothly way as well. Because when you prioritize God, He's Almighty, right? So He'll be able to help us through any um, trial in our life.
And
But
that's true, right, Belle? Because like the things that we are taught, as Christians when we attend the worship services, the things that everyone in our Ohana in live chat are sharing with us, God gives us basically the blueprint that we need to guide us in our life, in our decision making, in the choices that we make, and kind of how we, what we need to strive for, especially when it comes to the performances of our duties. But when it comes to tasks, and when it comes to things that we do each day that we're focusing on, right, that we're prioritizing, sometimes, have you ever realized, Belle, like, was there ever a time that you realized that you were prioritizing the wrong thing, right? And what did you do when you realized that, oh, this shouldn't be my priority, or it should be something else, or I shouldn't be working on this? Like, what did you do when you realized that you were prioritizing the wrong thing?
well, first of all, when you realize that you're in the wrong in something, you just need to be able to accept it first, right, Jay? Like sometimes it's just hard to accept those type of things, but yes, acceptance, and then uh, usually for me, it's something that I prioritize some or focus on something that is out of my control. It's just hard sometimes. Like it really affects me. Depends on what the matter is, but sometimes you feel like, oh, if I do something about it, then it can change. But most of the time, it's really out of our control. So when you prioritize something like that, then it makes you feel like there's nothing you can do about it, right? But at the same time, since there's nothing you can do about it, you can also focus on other things. So that's what I did. um, Especially like if it's like in a workplace or you're working with other people, um, you really need to be able to adjust to the situation, and work as one. It's just a matter of like communicating that, and and having the same goal in mind. But when it comes to personal reasoning, I feel like that when you realize that you're focusing on the wrong thing, instead of like you can instead of like putting so much effort and time and blaming yourself, you should try also to use that time and energy into focusing on what truly matters, right? If that was in the thing that was as important. But yes, it's just a matter of realization. So it's important that sometimes we sit with our thoughts and clear our mind and reflect upon, like, our various situations. And yeah, sorry. I think it's just it's just that the matter is quite like the steps are quite simple, but
But
I
it's not
mean,
easy.
it's not easy, of course, because in real life there's like really dire situations and more easier situations, right? But when it comes to dire situations, of course, that's when it gets tough, and that's when you get tested as well, like in your faith and you as a person, because you don't want to be spineless, right? When it comes to certain things, especially when you try to uphold your values, you always have to think about that, especially our election, as members of the Church of Christ. So that's how I would put it. Like, try always to think about how will that impact your life, especially as a member of the Church of Christ, right, Jay?
Like
It's-
realizing,
yeah,
the realization is can be difficult for some people, right? You realizing or having that, whether it's a self realization or what's even easier, I guess, is if somebody externally, like a friend, a loved one, can help you realize. And the great thing is, whenever we attend our worship services as well, sometimes the lessons also helps us to realize that, hey, maybe there's something I need to change in the way that I'm living or the way that I'm conducting my life and things like that. Like all of those things are ways for us to come to that realization that there might be something that we need to change, and sometimes it comes from ourselves. So for me, for example, one of the things that I realized was unhealthy habits, especially when it comes to eating and things like that. Again, I've become even more self-conscious of health and strength and things like that, and just making sure that you're always at your peak condition, because you always want to be prepared, right? They always say be prepared when the opportunity comes, be ready when the opportunity comes. And that also comes to part with how you take care of yourself, right? Not only your skills, not only with whatever else in your life, but also physically. You got to be prepared, because you don't want to be sick. You don't want to have very low energy. You don't want to be tired all the time. Then an opportunity comes and you don't have that inspiration. You don't have the motivation because you're physically not at your peak. Right. And, I guess just taking the examples from others, we all know that it's important that we continually maintain good, healthy habits. So that's one of the things that I self realized for myself, was that there are probably certain things that I need to change. And the thing is, you have to make the choice yourself. I've realized that if you don't have the heart, if you don't have the pull within you to make changes, nothing that anyone can say is going to make you change, right? Nothing that anyone can say will make you focus on the right thing, right? It has to come from within. I found that it's important. Like maybe there's people that's used as as God's instrument to remind us, to help us realize what might need to be changed and things like that. But for you to make the changes, it has to come from you, right? So I realized myself in a way, and it came to me that I had to be the one to make the choices. I had to be the one to take control of, like, say, my environment, the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm eating. Where am I spending my time, right? Am I getting enough rest? Am I eating the right food? Am I making time for self-care and exercise and things like that, to make sure that I am keeping myself at my peak condition, so that not only can I help my family and provide for my family, but I can also worship and perform my duties at the best of my ability. So making sure that you have the right, again, values in place, and you know where those priorities lie, but then the choice is always up to you. Ultimately, when the realization comes, you have to take action. You have to make the choice. It has to be coming from you. Because if it doesn't, usually you might do it for like a week or two or a very short amount of time, but there's nothing else that's going to keep you consistent, keep you maintaining there. I actually read a few of our ohana saying that the consistency is important, right? That's they're sharing there in our live chat. So the next thing that we're going to ask everyone, especially since we're talking about the importance of priorities, making changes, right? Putting first things first and knowing what the good values are. We want to ask everyone, what's one thing you'd like to prioritize more of this year, and why is that your one thing that you want to prioritize? So our ohana there in live chat, we've got a few of you. Let us know what would be one thing, like if you think about it right now, that you would want to focus on and prioritize more of this year, and why is that your one thing? Before, as you're typing those answers, Belle, why don't we go ahead and you can read a few of the responses of what our ohana are sharing at the moment.
So we have here um, Brian Torres saying, I go in the chapel and meditate and pray when I realized that I was prioritizing the wrong things. And God always answers my prayer wherever I pray, whenever I pray in the chapel. And that's true. And that's why we always have to, include God in our planning, no matter how big or small that plan is. And here, Jonah Grace said, thankful to God that with all my life experiences, I've always learned what should really be our priority. And Rod Kahayag said, God knows where we will be in the end. It's our choices on the path we'll take. Make good choices. And that's true because has everything that we do has a consequence, whether it's good or not. So if you really want a good consequence, then we need to be more careful, right, with our way of thinking and decision making. But yes, it is something that we should always think about. Uh, you know, if we always have to question, not in a way where it's just questioning why am I doing this, but it questioning in a way where you're trying to filter out the things that you don't really need in your life. Like, will this matter in like 1 year? Will this matter in 10 years? If you really reflect upon that, then it's going to be easier for you to prioritize things. Rod Kahayag said here, I want to prioritize more on clearing out, decluttering, and really reorganizing our house. And I feel like I can really relate to that, Rod, because like me and my family, like we're a big family as well. So hopefully we'll be able to do that.
How many in the family again, Belle?
We're six.
So there must be a lot. Like that's one of the things as well for me, the decluttering. But what about for you, Belle? Apart from decluttering, what else would you like to prioritize more?
Like of course, like my election, like as a member. But aside from that, because that's always been like our number one priority, right? Every year is
Yes.
always to strive to get closer to God, especially with our family. But aside from that, like outside of that, of course, maybe try to make more time uh, for friends and loved ones, especially like my family. because as I mentioned earlier, sometimes we just get too busy. I don't even see them as often, even though we we live all together. So hopefully that will be more prioritized, not only for me, of course, because um, it takes the whole lot to be able to be together at the same time.
No,
So yes,
I
uh,
agree. I agree with that.
it is something that shouldn't be taken for granted in a way where it really does make a difference. It can be like what, a 20-minute outing in a cafe that already can make your whole day. So no matter how big or calming the situation is, like the outing is, then you can still feel comfortable with your friends and your loved ones and family. So hopefully more of that this year. What about you, Jay?
I think same as well for me. Prioritizing a little bit more on strengthening family bonds, right? I mean, also that's one of the things that we are highly encouraged for a long time now, right? That's why the church administration has put through like the importance of having family hour and such. But I think I want to like even go more than just the family hour, because I think it's important that the family bond is really strong, right? If you're facing problems, the family bond needs to be strong, right? You need to be together, you need to be united, and you need to be like one when it comes to facing challenges. So, family bond definitely is one of my priorities that I want to focus more of this year, because I feel just kind of like what you said, a lot of things come up in life, a lot of distractions, a lot of activities that you have to take care of, right? You're always got demands on you, and then the other family members have demands on them. And there's so much distractions now, especially from that device that we all carry in our pocket now that has access to so many things and always has notifications going off. If you know what I mean, our smartphones is one of our biggest distractions. And I feel it's one of the things that really keeps us from connecting at a strong level, because it's we're always on our phones. So I think that having family time without distractions is very, very important, and making room for those adventures again. I feel like I've gotten lost in work, I've gotten lost in other things and other focus, and I guess stress from other demands and things like that, right? Just kind of like bringing it back to like what truly matters for me, right? So one of those things in my values is my family, my wife, our daughter, especially with their needs. As most of you that might be listening right now knows, like the extra needs that our daughter has, because she is has extra special needs, being part of the autism spectrum family, and those challenges that she face, like it's really hard for just one parent to cater for that. So having both Jem and I supporting her and being present is really, really important. Especially she's in that what they call the formative years, right? Like these early years is kind of like what she's gonna carry with her as she gets older. And I guess just knowing that she's got the support and mom and dad, right? Of her mom and dad is always there to help her and all through all these challenges, really is one of like the priorities that I really want to focus of more on, and just be a little bit more hands on there when it comes to that. So I know it's different for everyone, but that's what's truly important. So for me, again, so hopefully that's from this part of our discussion when it comes to priorities. We know that it's all important. We need priorities to focus on, right? It shapes our direction, and we focus on things that helps us grow to achieve and be aligned with the values that we hold, especially as Christians. And we should always make room for what truly matters. And just what most of our Ohana has shared, we should always take time to assess what we're doing, what actions we're taking, and what we are prioritizing in our life, and adjust accordingly if we need to. With that, we're going to be talking about distractions next. We're going to talk about what happens when distractions come, and kind of like what distracts you and steals away your focus. That's coming up next in the next part of our discussion. But before that, Belle, why don't you go ahead, read any of our final comments, and introduce the next two songs that we'll be listening to?
So for our next songs, it'll be Machitsutsukeru, which is I'll Be Waiting, and It's Gonna Be Fine. We hope that you enjoy. Quick tag.
あの場所にたどり着くその日までそこにある何にも変えられない神の祝福をつかみ取るその時までいざ勝ち取ろう真の栄光あと少しの時で勇気を振り絞めて願いが叶うその瞬間を逃せず僕は信じるから何に出会っても諦めないで与えられる希望を待ち続けるこの旅は簡単じゃないからこそゴールにたどり着いたら輝くんだだから希望を握りしめてその時まで神の潮を胸に抱きしめるよあと少しの時で勇気を振り絞めて願いが叶うその瞬間を逃せず僕は信じるから何に出会っても諦めないで与えられる希望を待ち続けるI'll be waiting 試練があるけれど強く戦うよ神がいれば恐れることはないさあと少しの時で勇気を振り絞めて願いが叶うその瞬間を逃せず僕は信じるから何に出会っても諦めないで与えられる希望を待ち続ける
I'm gonna go where God leads me. When the world makes me weep inside, there's a place I can call my home. The weight on my shoulders makes me afraid, but I know what I'm fighting for. With God I'll march and conquer. And I can't stop feeling, won't stop breathing. I wait with anticipation. Yeah, I won't stop holding until my fears end. Let God's light lead me. Ooh. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy. I'll march with honor. The day is near. I'll receive eternal life. There's a place I can call my own. I'm close to salvation, always prepared. When the Father sends His Son, I'll leave this world to meet Him. And I can't stop feeling, won't stop breathing. I'll wait with anticipation. Yeah, I won't stop holding until my fears end. Let God's light lead me. Ooh. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy. I'm gonna go where God leads me. When the world makes me weep inside, there's a place I can come. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy.
This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Hi! It's your Ate Ace. Come and join. And explore fascinating landmarks of Athens, Greece. And for this episode, we'll be featuring vlogs from the Mediterranean Satellite Studio. So catch all of these this Tuesday on Like and Share, April 8th, 2025 at 2 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. Only here on INCRadio.
Tired of feeling your worst? Ready to take control of your health? Then tune in to Health Matters, the show that covers it all. Mondays, get glowing with Dr. Miriam Isla and the latest in skincare. Tuesdays, Dr. J.M. Cruz tackles your adult health questions. Wednesdays, it's family time with Dr. Owie Perez. Thursdays, Sister Min Pina and Sister Galore Pangan guide you to emotional well-being. And Fridays, discover the power of natural medicine with Dr. Erwin Torres and Sister Cheche Brinosa. Health Matters, Monday through Friday at 10:30 in the morning. Subscribe now and start living your healthiest life.
Welcome back. And earlier we talked about how we determine if something is a priority and um, what we would like to prioritize more, right? So we know that not only uh, life is full of demands and responsibilities, but we're also surrounded by distractions and other things that get our attention. So that time can be taken away from what truly matters. And with that said, what are things, or what's one thing that often distracts you from your priorities, Jay?
One of the things that I've realized again recently is just not having enough energy. Not being a little bit sleep deprived. Because of that, not getting enough rest really affects your performance for the following day, right? It affects like not only your critical thinking, your ability to think on your feet, and all of those things. It's just not being able to have the energy to do what you want to do because you feel like it's too overwhelming. I feel like you wake up each day with a certain amount of capacity of what you can handle when it comes to demands, when it comes to stress, when it comes to decision making, right? Making choices and such. And you, in my own opinion, I feel like you have a greater capacity to handle those things if you're well rested. So for me, you need to have in the energy because that's one of the things that can distract you from what truly matters from your priorities and such. I know that I've had days where I've had very little sleep and it's very hard to get excited of going out, right? Taking the family out or running to appointments or doing the meeting or sitting in front of the computer for a few hours to work on that project and trying to get inspiration or that motivation to do the things that you need to do. It's hard to do that if you're not well rested. uh, so that's one thing that affects my performance and kind of it's like my distraction. The second thing tied very closely to that is just that when you're not well rested, at least for me, I end up just going on my phone and doom scrolling and because it's so stress free. It's so like you're just sitting there and you're just scrolling through. Like for me, it's YouTube because I don't really have social media, but I'm scrolling through the YouTube shorts and just finding the next thing that's funny and finding the next thing that might be funny. And oh, that's not funny. But it's so easy to trap you in that repetitive process, right? And you're just like repetitively just sitting there, even though you got things you need to do, you just don't have the energy to do other important things. But it's easy, right? It's easy to just lie in bed, sit on the couch, and just like go through your phone and watch videos of things that are funny, things that are entertaining, and whatnot. thinking that
Yes.
that's rest, but that's not rest, right, Belle? It's not, that's not considered rest. Like you really need to rest your brain, rest your body, rest your eyes. But for me, I think overall, it's getting enough rest or not getting enough rest is one of my biggest distractions, because that just pulls me towards other things. Like you end up, I've heard that if you're not well rested, it's harder to make a good choice on what you eat. So you end up eating food
And
that doesn't you eat anything, you eat junk food or things that aren't nutritious because it's easy. It's harder for you to actually prepare a proper meal, right? A more nutritious meal. It's easier to just heat something up in the microwave or things like that. So yeah, I think overall I've realized for me, just being sleep deprived, I just end up doing easy things. And
yeah.
things that are worth it, things that are important, they don't come easy, right? They require work. They require a lot of energy to do, to work on those things, to build strong relationships, to build strong connections with people requires energy, requires focus. And yeah, I think that if you're sleep deprived, if you don't have that energy, it just doesn't work out the way that you want. How about you, Belle? What's your biggest distraction from getting to your priorities?
It's quite similar to what you feel, Queer, because I totally agree with, like, I can relate to what you mentioned, that when you feel tired all the time, even though you want to be there, like present, it's just hard, right? Because you feel so exhausted sometimes. It's not, and sometimes it's not even the physical side of it. You know, you just feel like mentally exhausted or like emotionally exhausted. So, any type of tired. But yes, it really does make the difference. So that's why I said earlier, like, just a simple cup or glass of water that really makes a difference because it makes you feel refreshed, right? So for me, is just like maybe one of the big things that distract me. Yes, it can be my phone because, as you say, as you just said, uh, it can be our like refreshing like source, like our getaway for like a few minutes. But at the same time, is it really productive? Is it really like trying to make you rest? But another thing is when I feel so overwhelmed that it's just like you try to just uh procrastinate, or not even procrastinate, you just feel so overwhelmed that you just feel stuck, right? Whenever there's a lot of um things going on, sometimes you don't even know where to start, right? That's where prioritization comes and um is useful. But most of the time in life, it doesn't really, it's not it's not really easy to set like priorities when everything is urgent at the same time. So when it comes to that, sometimes, I mean, as humans, you tend to get overwhelmed, right? So for me, sometimes I just get distracted in a way where I just overthink it, or I just feel like, oh, I need to take a step back so that I can truly process like the situations, and yeah, try to make the most out of what I can do, Jay. Because at the end of the day, we're not robots, we're humans, we have our own limitations. So if we realize that as well, then we'll be able to get through our responsibilities and our tasks throughout the day or even the week. So yes, it's just that, right?
Yeah.
So,
We have our own strengths, we have our own weaknesses. There's a certain capacity that each individual person can handle, right? Like the stress that you can handle, Bell, would be different to the amount of stress that I could handle. And then it's the same thing goes with patience. Like you might have a high tolerance and be patient with so many things, whereas the next person may have a lot less tolerance and being patient for other people's demands and urgencies and things like that. And then that could fluctuate depending on food, depending on you're well hydrated or you're well rested. So many factors can affect our way to be focused or be distracted. That's why focus is it's a skill, and it's also your environment, right? if you can control and take charge of what you're surrounding yourself with, you can give yourself an edge when it comes to being more prioritized or putting the first things first, like the most important things first. But if you are not in the right environment, then you'll get easily distracted with easier, simpler things. Let me read a few of the comments from our Ohana there in live chat, Bell, because like there's a couple of really good ones here, good reminders for us as well. So Rod shared quite a few things here. He says we should also should we also focus on the distractions, meaning understanding and knowing what a distraction is and properly handling them. So that's true, right? Like know what is a distraction, know when something becomes a distraction, right? And then know how to handle it if that thing is a distraction. Because again, I know we've used the example of being on our smartphones, but that can also be a way to relax for some people. But then it can become a distraction if it takes over your time completely, right? Because it's so easy to do and it's so hard to get back into something that actually requires effort, right? If something requires effort and you don't have the energy or the motivation to do it, then that can make you more lean towards distractions because distractions are more fun, they're more easy, they're more simple. Uh, Let me just read a few more of what Rod said. He said, distractions is like food. Food, his acronym for food, fix our own distraction. So that could be a great reminder for us, right? We are the ones that need to take charge, know when we're getting distracted by something, and we should fix our own distractions. Our executive producer, Des Asenas, is the desk there. Same with me, Kuya J. We need to rest and give time for our body and mind to heal, right? It's a healing process. Rest is healing. Like if you actually look into the science of why we need rest, it's what we need so that our organs and everything else, all the toxic stuff that's in our body, it needs time to flush, to rest, to recuperate from all the stress that we take in through the day. And also, Leandro Del Mundo shares with us in terms of what often distracts from priorities. He says challenges, criticism, hindrances. I don't think we touched on those, but very true as well. Sometimes criticism can hinder us, right? Can be a distraction, especially if you are an overthinker, a little bit like myself. When I take criticism, you end up spending like longer than you should on that criticism and trying to go, did I really do that wrong? Like, and all of that thing. Hindrances and challenges as well. But since we talked about distractions a little bit, Bell, what's your way of refocusing? Right, like when things get a little bit overwhelming, maybe it's distraction, but other times there are certain stresses and certain demands that we take in, and we become overwhelmed with life, with everything that's expected from us, with the demands that's of our time. What's your way to refocus when life gets overwhelming, Bell?
Doing something that you like and something that makes you happy, because in that moment you'll be stress free and you'll be able to take your mind off certain matters. And it can be anything, it's up to you what hobbies or likings you have. But for me, it's just something that you need to be able to do from time to time, because uh, rest is good, but if you rest like every day, all day, then that's not rest anymore. But yes, um, um, for me, it's also, you know, when I'm trying to refocus, I meditate, I pray, and God knows what all of us are going through, even though we don't really say it out loud, even though our loved ones don't know, right? So when it comes to trying to refocus and regaining our energy, we always have to seek that from our Almighty God. And for me, yes, trying to do something that makes you happy and, seeking God. That's for me. But what about you, Jay? What makes you happy and what makes you help refocus?
Uh, Same with you in terms of prayer. I think that's very, very important that we do that. But one of the first things that I do, especially when I'm overwhelmed, and the overwhelm comes from sitting in front of your desk the whole day, or just being on the phone speaking to clients and bosses or things like that, and getting all these demands, is whatever it is that's causing you the overwhelm, get out of that situation. Like, go to the next room, go outside for a walk, take a breather, as they say, right? Go for a walk and get some fresh air. That's very important to get yourself out of that stressful, overwhelming environment if you can. If you're able to, it's best to do that. And then, obviously, in a quieter place, you can collect your thoughts. You can hold your prayer, a quick prayer to God for guidance and for patience if you need it, right? But that's usually what helps you. It's kind of like a physical, how we always say, if you're overwhelmed or stressed out with a situation, take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Actually getting out of the room and taking a time to relax, to like take some deep breaths, like not shallow breaths, like take deep long breaths, have a quick prayer and get some fresh air if you can. Go drink water, eat some food, and helps you to sort of, that's like a physical way to you to actually step back and give yourself time to process what it is that's causing you that stress. That's what it is that's causing you that overwhelm, that's pulling you away from what your priorities are, right? And kind of like mentally seeing if whatever it is that's causing you that overwhelm or that stress, that task that you're doing or that thing that you're doing that's causing you that, is it still aligning? Is it working towards your priorities, your values? Like, is it actually helping it, or is it something that's a waste of time? Is it something that's a distraction? If it's a distraction, just cut it if you can, if you're able to, right? Get rid of it. But you need to be able to step back, to step away for a little bit to process the information. I think that's what it is. One of the things that, again, our daughter being easily overwhelmed with things is that she takes in a lot, again, for those who aren't aware that might be listening, my daughter has autism. And because of her autism, takes in, she gets overwhelmed easily because, and from what all of our therapists and psychologists have mentioned to us, is generally people who are on the spectrum, they take in, it's not they don't take in enough information, they take in too much information. They take in everything. And I can vouch for this because like our daughter sees everything, like even little details that we don't realize, and all of a sudden she picks something out and it's like, where did that come from, kind of thing, right? Like she is very, very perceptive with everything, people, noises, sound, environment, lighting, like everything, she picks up on it. And what we've learned when it comes to that is that she takes in so much information that it overwhelms her brain to the extent that she's not able to respond. Now, for us who are more, for most of us who are more neurodiverse, as they say, like someone who's just pretty much just like your average person, is that we can manage and we can sort of shut out what information comes into our brain. So we can cut that out and we don't get overwhelmed as easily, but we still do eventually get overwhelmed because we've taken in too much information. So stepping away is really the best thing that helps us or helps people to process that information. Just like with our daughter, we got to give her time to process what we're asking from her, but being able to give yourself time to process that and see what the next best action is. And if you don't know, prayer, right? You got to pray for guidance, for help, for understanding, all those things that you need. And just to give you that clarity of mind, to have clear thinking, to make the best decision, to make the best choice. And as long as we have our Almighty God on our side, like whatever it is, we'll be guided in the right way. It'll help us in the right way there. Belle, over to you. Is there any other comments from our live chat that we want to read out first before we move on to the next song break?
Rod said here, you've got to pray just to make it today. And he also said, give me the patience for you to act, courage to fight for the faith you've given me so I can make it through these times. Give me hope so I can get through each day. And I think that's from a prayer, one of the INC songs that were uh, performed for the 50th in the West. So, yes, thank you for that, Rod. And with that said, before we continue on with our topic discussion, Jay, would you like to introduce the next songs?
Yes, yes. So yeah, when we do come back, we're going to be talking about our faith when it comes to aligning with our priorities. But the next two songs that we'll be listening to is a song request, well, song request from Rod there in our live chat. His song request, and I believe this might be in Japanese and in Afrikaans in the language, I think. Or is that in Japanese as well? I'm not sure, but they are in a different language. So hopefully you all enjoy this. The next two songs that we're listening to is Now That Salvation Is Near. This is the Sukuiwa Chikazuku version. So it's got a bit of Japanese in there. And the second song that Rod has requested, Siya Kudu Misa, or in English, We Glorify You. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after our musical break.
Song, our favorites, Faith and Melody Heartbeats.
Once long ago, the word was conceived. Salvation was planned for those who believe. So God had chosen His people to glorify Him, but they did not hear His calling. They kept denying. Then came the time. The plan must be done. Once was the Word. The Word became man. He lived among us and suffered the pain of living. He gave His life for the chosen. The curse was broken. Angels from heaven gave praise to all His wonders. He gave His eternal grace. He drew us near
Tina Shabulile, Tina Sonwami, Tina Shabulile, Tina Sonwami. Akondi baluleki ngati kuya zuba stula nje, stule lubawo. Stumi singosi Stulanje Spilela wena Ufanele langudumo Songe sakmula Songe sakvumu kubangu inkosi Tina Shabulile, Tina Sonwami, Tina Shabulile, Tina Sonwami. Akoni baluleki ngati kuya zuba stula nje, stule lubawo. Stumi singosi Stulanje Spilela wena Ufanele langudumo Songe semngula Songe semvumu kubangu inkosi Tina Shabulile, Tina Sonwami, Tina Sonwami, Tina Shabulile, Tina Sonwami, Tina Sonwami. Siphakamise izandla zethu hlangule ngoba singabakho. Yena nathi ezulwini bawo sesisibona sesisingena kulo masango xa sesisonga sithi sibona kwelizayo hlala nathi siyakudumisa hlala nathi siyakudumisa hlala nathi
You're the reason why we sing. Oh, Almighty God. Oh, your love is so wonderful. Yes, it is. You love the hearts and soul. Glorify you. We glorify you.
Your requested song, our favorites, Faith and Melody Heartbeats.
This is Jay and Bell here on INCRadio's Faith and Melody. And, as Christians, not only have we set priorities for ourselves, but our faith as members of the Church of Christ truly guides us in finding fulfillment in life. So, with that, Bell, and to all of our viewers there, how does faith help you guide or help guide you with your priorities? So, Bell, let's hear from you first.
since we know that our faith is really important when it comes to anything, right? Um, my faith has guided me in a way where I knew what to do and not to do growing up. And up until now, we always have to filter out things that are good or bad for us. So um, it is important that we always put our Almighty God first. And when it comes to our priorities, sometimes it can be tricky because um, what if it's urgent from both sides, like from something that you have within your duties or something that you have in school? It can get tricky sometimes. So when it comes to that, my faith has helped me in a way where I was able to still prioritize God first. uh, when it comes to last minute task, or like even um last minute shifts. So uh, it goes hand in hand with what can you handle? Can you handle all of that in one day? I know that at the end of the day, um, it's up to you. It's up to you because um, you're the one making the decision. It doesn't matter how much advice you have, as you mentioned earlier, Jay. If you don't want to do it, if it's not within your heart and your mind, and you don't want to do certain things, then no matter how much advice you have, or how much spiritual advice you have as well, um, at the end of the day, it's up to you. So when it comes to our faith, we always have to reflect upon ourselves. And that's not only like when it comes to special occasions, right, Jay? That goes, that should be something that should be done every day. And uh, as I grew up in church, that's how I was able to prioritize God in many different ways. And yes, that's how my faith has helped me in my priorities, because at the end of the day, God is the one who gives us this life and the strength. And if you're making an excuse not to, you know, put something first that is for church, and trying to prioritize something else, uh, God is the one that it, God is the one that uh, God is the one that puts us in a place where we can thrive always, right? He's the one who gives us the life and the energy that we need, the the knowledge that we need, right? So if we always put our Almighty God first, the rest will always follow, right, Jay? I'm sorry, I'm just having a little bit of technical
No, that's
difficulties.
okay. We can still hear you. We can still hear you fine. It's just the video, but I totally can relate to that. In terms of when it comes to putting our faith first, and of course, like for me, it's all about we know that God has the best plans for us, with everything that we have planned for ourselves and whatever priorities that we might have set in our own life. Like, if you are able to align your own activities and all your priorities, what you're putting first in life, and you align that with everything that we're taught as members of the Church of Christ, with what God wants and expects from His people, then it's kind of like everything falls into place, right? So God has the best plans for us, and no matter what challenges that we might go through, or no matter what hindrances or distractions might get in our way, we're able to overcome those things, or at least be brought back to where we need to go, because God is there for us. God will take care of us, right? So when it comes to, like what we mentioned earlier, our faith kind of gives us the blueprint on how we should live our lives, on how the choices that we make, the decisions, the things that we do. All we need to do is we have to find it in ourselves to make that choice, to make the change, to take the action that we need to, right? Because you're always presented with multiple choices, with where you spend your time, with what you prioritize, right? I know maybe maybe not all like younger people, but even other people, they might prefer spending more of their times, and when they have that choice of a free time, Are they gonna do something, with their family, or are they gonna spend time playing video games all day? Right? I've had that before, where I spent a whole 2 weeks just in front of the computer playing video games. And it's like when I was younger, right? When I was less wise. But it's kind of like one of those things that you learn. It's like you are the one that is in charge of how the actions that you take. So God's words, our faith as members of the Church of Christ, will give us the guide that we need to make the right choice. We just need to exercise action. We need to take action, practice taking action, and making the best choice that God wants for us. So, with that, I just want to quickly read, or maybe Belle, if you wanted to read through some of the comments from our live chat. I see an acronym there from Rod as well. But before you do that, for everyone else that might be tuning in right now and you want to drop your answer for this last part, because there might be people out there, someone that might be struggling balancing their priorities, right? They're having a problem and they don't know how to balance their what to put the first things first in their life, to put the priorities first in their life, to take action on that. What would be your advice to those who might be struggling to balance their priorities? Let us know right there in the live chat. I'll ask Belle in a little bit as well. But Belle, maybe first, if you could read through a few of the comments from our live chat.
So here in our live chat, we have uh, Leandro Del Mundo saying God's activities in the Church of Christ, Iglesia Cristo, focus on your dreams. That's how his faith has helped him focus in his dreams. And uh, Rod here said, faith helps me in the guidance of our priorities because we focus on our attention on true holiness. And yes, you already mentioned the the acronym focusing attention in true holiness. And in terms of my advice that I would give to someone struggling to balance their priorities, um, if you, for example, if you're a student, if you have an exam, like for example, in 2 days, and you have worship service today or tomorrow, uh, you know, um, you should, like, of course, like as Christians, we should worship our almighty God, right? And in terms of time constraints or being on a time crunch, that's where God will help you with. He'll give you the strength and the knowledge that you need in order for you to be successful and pass that exam. So if you feel like um you're too worried about outer things, or like other things or things that are not church related, then that's how I switch my mindset. When it comes to God, he should always be our number one in our lives, right, Jay? And no matter how tricky or dire the situation is, that's how it should always be. And I'm not saying that it's really easy to do that, because sometimes there are situations where um, most of the things that you are facing are not really in your control, right? So when it comes to that, if you make the right amendments, and if you always put God first, the rest will follow. And you will be in awe with what God can do for you and help you with, because when you are feeling uncomfortable in a situation, sometimes, you just need to be patient, and you need to wait for God to act for you. But if you don't let God act for you and you act on your own, that's when you might go astray. And that's when you might make the wrong decision, right? Or focus on
Mm.
the wrong thing. So that's why it's important to take time to think and take time to pray to God for the signs or whatever you need, or the guidance that you need when it comes to that situation. And the rest will will follow. And God has always had a greater plan for us, and sometimes we don't even see it. So we always have to put our full trust in God, especially when we feel like there's rejections around you or towards you, or you know when you feel like it's just hard to handle everything. So hopefully that's something that you can take away from this topic discussion.
That's fantastic advice, Belle, and that's a very mature advice as well to anyone out there that might be struggling. And I think the only thing, because I think that was perfect, but the only thing I would add to that was just don't for those who might be struggling, like just remember that finding balance, it's a journey, right? As they say, great things take time. So don't expect, like, everyone struggles with something, and maybe for you it might be right now balancing your priorities, right? Finding balance, or because of the struggle that you have of what's important, it takes time. And the only advice that I would add on to what that awesome thing that Belle just mentioned there is that just take small steps, because it's the small steps that leads to big changes, right? Anything big that change in your life was it happens through just small steps. If you look at it, like, those steps may be simple, but they're not easy. So just take your time with the small steps and work on it bit by bit. And eventually, it'll make a big change to help you balance your priorities. Like what we've mentioned and what we've talked about and shared with each other here on our discussion today. Know your values. Know what's important in your life, what brings you happiness in your life, and chase that, right? And the thing for us, we know that our faith in our Almighty God, what we're taught as members of the Church of Christ, that is the foundation of everything that goes on in our life, on how we live our lives, on the actions that we take, who we are as a person, how we should become as a person in our character. All of that you can get from the faith and from what we learned from our Almighty God. So know your values, reflect on them, and just see if your actions are aligning with the things that you want to achieve in your life and the person that you want to be as a Christian, as a member of the Church of Christ. And just take it one small step at a time. And with enough small steps, it'll lead to a big change. And with that, hopefully everyone out there has enjoyed this little conversation that Belle and I have had today about first things first. And that also, thank you to our Ohana, our live chat viewers, that's been sharing and dropping their insights throughout the discussion here. Rod has one last comment that I've just read, which is take one step at a time and pray for patience. Patience, it's another great virtue for us to strive for. So, with that, the last things that we want to leave you before we proceed to our verse of the week, remember that since we've been talking about priorities, priorities isn't just about your schedule, it's also about the values that you hold. Let's take the time to focus on what truly matters, what brings meaning in our life. When we put first things first, our faith, our family, our purpose, we create space for the life that God has designed for us. And with that, we hope you've all enjoyed this discussion. Thank you again to everyone that dropped their insights throughout our show. Before we end everything, we of course have our verse of the week. And I'll get Belle to go ahead and introduce what our verse of the week is this week on Faith and Melody. Go ahead, Belle.
So, with that said, our verse of this week will be, what is true wealth?
It's not wrong to desire wealth and prosperity in life. But a big house, fancy cars, and lots of money, is that all there is to life? Should material gain be our number one priority? Or is there something more valuable than money and worldly possession? Hi, I'm Brother Andrew Fisher, and I'm here to share with you another verse of the week. We'll read from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, and the verse is 15. And he went on to say to them all, watch out, and guard yourselves from every kind of greed, because your true life is not made up of the things you own, no matter how rich you may be. There are many things we need in life, for our physical, mental, and material well-being. However, may this instruction of the Lord Jesus awaken us to realize what we need most, the true life or salvation. No matter what we possess or what we lack, may we guard ourselves from every kind of greed. Our priority and our focus shouldn't be on the things in this life. Instead, Let us place our hope in our Almighty God by following and obeying His words written in the Bible. To our friends, we encourage you to visit INCmedia.org to learn more about God's teachings here in the Church of Christ. Set aside some time to speak to a minister of the gospel and join us in our worship services and Bible studies so that you too can receive the true wealth which we all need most. Stay safe, stay strong, and stay faithful. God bless.
Thank you to Brother Andrew for that inspiring message to take with us for the week ahead. And Jay, do you have any shout outs or, you know, any greetings or promos?
Again, everyone, thank you to those that joined us. And of course, I want to give a quick shout out to my beautiful wife, Jem, and to our daughter, Lena, for always helping me realize what's most important as well. So they've been my biggest supporters. And of course, to everyone out there that's listening there. But yes, over back to you, Belle.
I would also like to greet my family, my mom, Ate Erica, Arian, Sam, and Dan, and everyone who is able to support us today. Thank you so much. And we would also like to say thank you to our technical team, our brothers there in the main studio, Nico and Irene, Sister Desta Senas and Brother Edwin Asabuke, as well as Brother Wally Tarai, our INC radio station manager. And also special thanks to our CEBSI president and CEO and CFO coordinator, Brother Angelo Eranio Manalo, as well as our executive minister, our dearest Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. And once again, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Belle from the United Kingdom.
And I'm Jay from Australia, and we have been your hosts on today's broadcast of INC Radio's Faith and Melody. We hope today's episode has given each one of you a positive start to your week ahead. To close off our episode today, we'll be listening to So We Must Work. So let's all work, everyone. Join us again tomorrow on the next episode of Faith and Melody. Take care. Have a great week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Chapels big and small, filled with different races now. Worship God's name. Leaders and priests now our brothers, new missions and districts all over the world, and we're stronger ever together. So we must work, work, work. We're moving forward. Busy and work, work, work. We're going onward. Victories are happening all around us, and they'll grow all the more because of God's love. Look around, we're seeing His wonders there. Take a look around. Look around, we're growing so rapidly. And it's all for the glory of God. The Church of Christ will continue to rise. Filipino in the air, most churches setting new heights. World records and aid for humanity. Farming and housing projects to help the poor and needy. When the strive for life arise, the church provides. Other nations, they continue